Hey, Kristen. Okay, so I'm going to watch the video you sent me of Oliver in the FedEx truck and then talk to you about what I'm seeing. Okay, so it's about a 49-second video. So here we go. All right, as soon as you start off the video, I'm getting a feel for Oliver's pace. And as soon as he sees that truck, he immediately pulls back a little bit. His head comes up. Okay, I'm only at 1 second in.
So here we are at Furlock. There's a FedEx.
You'll notice when you said here we are, he turned back and looked over his shoulder. That again is another sign of sort of being hypervigilant, sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? So as soon as you started talking, and one of the interesting things is that you starting the video was just a few seconds before he started reacting, meaning the change in pace, the head up, the looking over the shoulder, okay? So if we were working together, what I would have said is, thank you for sending me the video, this isn't criticism, that when you went to start the video, about 5 seconds before is when we would want to start working on his behavior, okay? Okay, so at about seconds 7 through 9, I'm seeing him again sort of slowing down and sort of looking around. Now, of course, you guys are crossing driveways, so he may have learned that people and animals and whatever pop out behind cars. So that's a totally normal response. But given the context that there is a truck right there, and we know he's reactive to those things or nervous about those things, it just sticks out in my head a little bit.
Especially if the lift gate goes down or the side door opens, he will.
So one thing I'm noticing about second 18 here is that he's sort of doing this like difference in intentionality and body positioning, but also I noticed the ears from being sort of down are starting to pop up. The ears popping up in general outside of context is interest, right? But if we know we're anxious and nervous and there's a scary thing around, it can again sort of signal going into this hypervigilance, making sure this scary thing can't hurt me, okay?
Rear back and pull away from it.
So at second 23, we're getting into that head going back and forth, just sort of observing. You're also getting quite close to the FedEx. You're about, I'm going to give it about 4 car lengths away on the opposite side of the street.
But we're walking towards it on the other side of the street. And
so yeah, head back and forth, head back and forth. You also notice his steps are not full gait. They're starting to get shorter. Right? When I start to see steps getting shorter, again, our body's getting more tense. We're starting to get nervous, or we're engaged in nervousness. Okay, and now you're basically parallel to the FedEx truck. He did a hard look, right? And then went straight again. I'm at 36 seconds. So he keeps checking back on the truck, keep checking back, keep checking back, keep checking back, keep checking back. 41 seconds, we are on a dead stare at the truck. Here is where... So this is what all the things I'm seeing. I'll talk to you about how I would work this dog once I'm done.
His tail's down, but not tucked.
Okay, tail down, not tucked. Not a great...
Super unsure, but at least he's moving.
Of course, the FedEx truck drives with you. Okay, so we got to the end of 51 seconds, and here is what I would suggest. Again, when you started this video is when I would have started working with Oliver. So the way that I work with any dog in a stressful, nervous, scary, aggressive, whatever situation is I create a safety. And what I mean by that is, again, enrichment. I got to make sure the dog's brain is in a good place to be able to learn. The next part is I need to make sure that I have the relationship with my dog where they're used to me asking them to do things, not just in the middle of shit hitting the fan, a FedEx truck, but when nothing is going on. So you think about training your dog much like practicing for a sport. You know, pro athletes aren't out there practicing in front of 20, 30, 40,000 people. No, they're doing it with really low stakes. Nothing else is going on. They sort of get that muscle memory going. And then when you get in front of the FedEx truck or the audience, that muscle memory kicks in and you're just able to do the behaviors, okay? What that also does creates a relationship with mom or dad or whoever where the dog is used to you asking them to do things. And so it's just a logical extension of what you typically do with the dogs. So what this requires is sort of training throughout every day with your dog. And I can do a video on that at some point whenever I have time. But then the part that helps me get dogs through this is I take my dog's names and I create a cue out of that. So when I say Dr. Jones, my dog knows he's supposed to look at me. And there's a specific game I teach my clients on how to create that relationship between their name and the expected response of looking at me. Now, when I start to get a dog into a situation where I know they're nervous, first things first, you need to identify what is the distance at which this thing can be in the environment without it actually triggering the dog. So you're looking for threshold. Okay, I can be 100 feet away from this truck and he's not bothered at all. Cool. What that means is I'm going to start training at 105 feet away from this truck. Okay. And every day, or as his behavior shows me, I'm going to start to reduce the distance or increase the saliency of that trigger. Again, it's really difficult to sort of talk about this without the layers of other training. But what you're trying to do is pair calm behavior, good payments with like high value things with the presence of the scary thing. But you want to do it, the real art comes in keeping the dog under threshold the whole time. If your dog's reacting, ears going up, hard stares, body language changing in pace, that means you're too close. You can't do the training once you're already reacting. So this is what I'm doing in that Modern Dog Academy program, is we're breaking this shit down to teach people how to do this desensitization work. Which again, if you think about training a dog like a math book, right? Like desensitization is like chapter 15. You can't do that work unless you and the dog have the skills from chapters 1, 2, 3, 4 on up to 14. So I have a lot of people reach out like, okay, my problem is dog lunging on leash. And I'm like, great, how do you feed them? And they look at me like I'm crazy. But if you don't have all these supportive structures and the foundation, you can't do that work. At least not well, and at least not in a way that's going to provide long-term behavioral change. So, yeah, man, I hope that me commenting gave you a little bit of information of sort of what I'm seeing. I'm going to put this together and send it back to you. Okay? Bye.